Hey guys, Gail here at Back Mountain Microgreens. Have you ever wondered why sometimes when you buy microgreens, they last forever, or it seems like they do, and then sometimes it seems like they're gone or they're bad before you even get a chance to use them? Today we're going to talk about a couple small tweaks you can make in your refrigerator and where you store them that'll help you guys get the absolute most life out of the greens that you've already bought. Most of the comments that we get about how long greens last is in relation to basil. Basil is one of the most delicate microgreens that we grow, and so if you can apply this to basil as well as to every other microgreen that you buy, you'll really be in the clear. And this isn't just we want to tell people that you're doing it wrong, but this is what we've heard from other customers, what we do personally, and we found that it makes a really big difference. So here are 3 things that are going to really help you guys improve the shelf life for your microgreens. Number 1 tip, where they live in your fridge matters. So you guys have probably all reached for like the carton of milk in the very back of the fridge and you go to drink it and it's frozen, or there's like chunks of ice crystals and stuff in it. So same exact thing happens with your microgreen. Not every spot in your refrigerator is at the same temperature. So keep this in mind. You don't want your microgreens to nearly freeze. And they will do exactly that if they're right by the cold air vent or blower. So when you put your microgreens in the fridge, whether it's a huge walk-in at a restaurant or at home, keep them away from the blower or the cold air vent. The best place to put them, especially in like a residential refrigerator, is in the crisper drawer. That way they're kind of like in their own little bubble, a little bit protected. And that way they won't form ice crystals. And, they'll be a little bit protected from the really cold air that's coming out of the blower. Let the other stuff in your fridge, like the milk or the meat, absorb that cold air. Keep your microgreens in the crisper. Point number 2, the microgreens are leggy. This isn't a mistake, it's a feature. So when we harvest, we purposely harvest leggy greens. What does leggy mean? So leggy means, we kind of covered it in a reel a little while ago, but it's just the length of the stem. And so a lot of people think, there's the leaf and that's the only useful part, but then there's a really long stem and they get upset. Well, why am I paying for that? Would I get more greens if, the stem were shorter? Maybe, but the whole point is the stem is the first part to go. So if we harvest leggy greens and we give them to you and you store them properly in the right place in the refrigerator, then you can, once they start to go bad, you can extend the shelf life even more by just snipping off the end of the leg or the end of the stem. And so that really gives you, a lot more opportunity to have them for a longer period of time, because even maybe once the end of the stem starts to turn a little bit, you can just snip that part off and the rest of the green is totally fresh. The great part about that for people buying greens for health reasons is that the majority of the nutrition content is concentrated in the leaves. So even though you may snip off a little bit of the stem to kind of, keep them a little bit longer, you're not really losing much of the nutrition content. And visually, same thing as well. Snipping off a little bit of the stem, nobody's going to notice. The whole point is you're able to keep the greens a lot longer. And so that's why we do that on purpose. Again, it's not a mistake, it's by design. And that design is to give you an extended shelf life. Last point is washing. So a really quick way to degrade your microgreens is to get them home from the store or after delivery, open up the container, put them in a colander, rinse them off with water, put them back in the container and put them in the fridge. This is especially true, and it's absolutely going to destroy your greens if you're doing this and then putting the container right next to the cold air blower, just like we mentioned in the first point. So there's kind of 2 ways that you could approach the water situation. The first is to decide whether or not you want to wash your greens. The second is to decide whether or not you wash all of them versus just what you're going to use at that moment. So let's go back to the first point. The first point is that you get to decide whether or not you wash your greens. We have to inform you that water is not a part of our process. Our food, our produce, our microgreens, and our flowers even are considered not ready to eat, which means it's your responsibility to wash them. That's why we have the notice on our packaging that says, I believe, rinse or wash before use, because that responsibility falls on you depending on the information that you take in and make your decisions with. So do we wash our microgreens? No. When we eat them, we're not worried about it. We know where they come from. Same thing with even some similar stuff in our garden. Do we wash everything? No. We kind of have the viewpoint that, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So we're not really worried about it. But that's a choice that you have to make. Now, if you do decide to wash your produce, only wash what you're going to use in the moment. Don't wash the whole container and then put it back in the fridge. That's just going to destroy what goes back in the fridge. It's a much better option to just, whatever you're going to use in the moment, whether it's for a garnish or on a sandwich, on top of a soup, just grab whatever you're going to need and rinse that instead. That way you're preserving everything that goes back into the fridge. And kind of a fun fact, when it goes back in the fridge, the drier, the better. If it's on a hot line or in your kitchen, there's a lot of condensation, you leave the container open and then put it back, not gonna last very long. If you keep it cool, dry in the fridge, you're great. So only wash what you're gonna use in that moment. And that way, everything else in the fridge will stay good to go. And again, you'll get a longer shelf life out of what you have in the container. Whew, it's getting hot in here. Hot in here, I gotta get out. Okay. Very quick recap. When I was growing up, I don't think I ever heard my dad say it to me then, but he says it all the time now. And his little saying is, you have it how you keep it. And that applies to anything and everything, whether it's your car, your house, your kids, your relationships, whatever. You have it how you keep it. Same thing applies to microgreens. If you want long shelf life, if you want them to be fresh, every time you go in the fridge until they're gone, there are 3 things that you can do to make that as likely as possible to happen. They are, number 1, keep them away from the blower. In a fridge, the crisper is the best. Number 2, they're leggy. That's the way we plan it by design. So that all you have to do if they start to go a little bit is just snip off the edge of the leg or the edge of the stem and you're good to go. Number 3 is, boy, oh boy, what was number 3? Oh yeah, washing. If you decide to wash your greens, which that's a personal choice, you make it, we don't. We tell you to wash them, whether you do or not is up to you. If you're going to wash them, only wash what you need. Don't wash the whole container at once and throw it back in the fridge. Wash what you need, use it where you need it, and you'll be good to go. All right, that is all for today. Like, comment, subscribe, all the things. If you found this video helpful, let us know in the comments. Look in your fridge. Where were your microgreens? Were they where, is that right? Were they where we suggested? Were they in the crisper instead of by the blower? Let us know. Let us know how long they last. If you have questions, let us know in the comments. I think that's about it. Have a great day, guys.